The following program contains violence, disturbing imagery, nudity, and, oh my god, why are you even watching this? Just run away.
Jesus, man, Jesus fucking, that guy's a fucking asshole. Man, I didn't sign up for this shit, you know? And now the abstainers are involved. Fuck, man, the abstainers, man. Imagine every time you've jerked off, they've seen it. Every time they watch, they know, they literally can describe to the minutest detail every time you've taken a shit. They know every single moment. They know everything. They've seen everything. I don't like them. They make me uncomfortable.
Hey guys, what is going on? Chris here with Shughead Gaming, bringing you my review for Trover Saves the Universe, developed by Squanch Games. And while this is coming to PC and playable on the PS4, this review will of course be on the PSVR version and reviewed on a PS4 Pro. Trover Saves the Universe releases June 1st for PS4 and PSVR, and June 4th on PC for an estimated price of $25. Of course, that depends on your region. Your dogs have been dognapped by a beaked lunatic named Glorkon, who stuffed them into his eye holes and is using their life essence to destroy the universe. You've partnered with Trover, a little purple eye hole monster who isn't a fan of working or being put in the position of having to save the universe. Created by Rick and Morty co-creator Justin Roilend, Trover Saves the Universe looks to deliver more of the same to his many fans. But does this platform adventure deliver the game goods? Let's find out. As always guys, if you like this video, please hit that like button, and if you'd like to see more PSVR content from me, please consider subscribing, and for video updates, hit that bell icon. And remember, if you want more PSVR news and info, check Shughead Gaming out on Twitter and Facebook. Let's kick things off with a look at graphics. Trover Saves the Universe with its cartoon aesthetic certainly looks the part of one of Justin Roilend's creations. For fans of his show or the other Squanch Games title on PSVR, Accounting Plus, you will likely have an idea going in what you're in for. The overall visual package here is expectedly wonderfully bizarre and imaginative and bursting with color. This may be a new IP for Squanch Games, but at even a passing glance, fans of Justin Roilend will instantly recognize his signature look of skinny legs, bulging eyes, and the love of the deranged. As first and foremost a PSVR title, and being of the platform genre, comparisons to Astro are unavoidable. And while Trover Saves the Universe never quite hits those highs visually, this pro-enhanced title actually looks pretty awesome in the headset. Visuals here are actually very sharp and look very good across the board. Some aliasing can be seen when looking off in the distance, but for the most part the graphics on offer come off very polished and actually pretty detailed for the animated visual style on display. World after world, we are bombarded with unique and very Roilend-esque visuals across both the landscape and the characters that inhabit them. In fact, part of the fun of playing through a Squanch Games title is seeing what totally bizarre and wonderfully inappropriate creatures will inhabit your play space. Characters, although still very much just 3D realizations of Roilend's drawings, are animated surprisingly well here and give the game a sense of polish that really helps to sell these characters in the VR setting. When all said and done, Trover Saves the Universe looks creatively pretty much exactly like I thought it would, but with a level of polish and scope much higher than previous Squanch games, resulting in a platformer that actually feels like a competent and genuine platformer instead of just a licensed afterthought. Sound is up next.
Holy shit!
Surprise! It's me, Glorkon, you fucking dumb pieces of shit.
Oh my god!
Trying to get your dogs back? Not gonna happen. See them in my eyes? They're fucking crying right now. It hurts them to be in my eyes.
Don't slam attack us though, please. Yeah, just whatever you do, don't use your slam attack. It'll hurt us like 1 point more damage than usual.
Shit, that's how you knock people off fucking ledges!
Easily the single largest reason to play a Squanch Games title is for the ridiculous ramblings of Justin Roilend. In fact, whether or not this game is for you pretty much 100% stems from your sense of humor and whether you enjoy Justin's previous creations, most notably the Rick and Morty TV series, or for us PSVR users, Accounting Plus. Now for my part, my comedic leanings are very much inappropriate and dark, and as such you would think a perfect fit for Justin Roilend's blend of comedy. And well, more than a few moments during my playthrough had me laughing out loud, I actually find much of Justin's loose rambling style of comedic improv misses way more than it lands. Characters talk endlessly, and when they run out of anything useful to say, as they quickly do, they often just ramble and swear.
Fuck you, I'm not gonna tell you where I am. Jesus Christ, fuck our Lord and Savior, fuck our Lord
Jesus Christ, fuck. What are you talking about?
Sometimes this approach does produce comedic moments that are hilarious, such as listening to the minion guards talk about their sexual habits, but more often than not, they simply irritated me as I quickly tried to finish the task at hand and get away from the rambling character. To make matters worse, I think Justin has about 2 voices in his repertoire, as many characters here or in Accounting Plus pretty much all sound like versions of either Rick or Morty. So yes, Justin Roiland's comedic stylings aren't really a fit for me, and I don't consider myself a Rick and Morty fan at all. So, if you love all things Justin Roiland, as many do, then you can disregard all of my previous audio opinions. Moving on from comedic taste though, voice work is expectedly first rate here, with performances that are sure to please fans. World sounds are again done well and nicely fill out the animated stylings of each level. Again though, I stress each and every character here, including the prerequisite minions, all have a lot to say, so they often overpower all of their sounds, and for better and for worse, depending on your taste, definitely take center stage in most moments of the game. Speaking of which, it probably goes without saying, but the sense of humor here, and especially the voice work, is extremely adult and not for the young or easily offended, ranging from straight up toilet humor and swears to rants that, well, go further.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go back inside where I have a whole mess of pregnant ladies strapped onto the floor, where I'm using an intricate network of fluids to inject into their bodies and induce early birth so that I can consume the flesh of their fetuses, okay? Is that okay?
There is a censored audio option in the settings, but personally that's like drinking decaf or alcohol-free beer. What's the point? And finally, we are left with the music, and well, it's fine. Unsurprisingly, the music here is very fitting, with previous Roiland creations bouncing along in the background and checking off all the platformer music boxes. Nothing here is incredibly memorable, but it's competent nonetheless. And that brings us to gameplay. As well as they work in VR, we surprisingly have very few platformers on the PSVR. Astrobot and Moss instantly come to mind, and now we can add Trover Saves the Universe, a surprisingly adept, if not a bit shallow entry in this much-loved genre of titles. As a character permanently attached to your recliner, you must take control of Trover, and as the two of you set out to stop the evil Glorkon, who has shoved your 2 dogs into his eye sockets, and as a result has obtained godlike powers. The premise here is absurd, and the following story even more so, but unfortunately the gameplay on hand is paint-by-numbers platformer action, and nothing you haven't done countless times before. Now that's not saying there's necessarily anything wrong with that, as I'm all for video game comfort food, but just know what you're getting going in. Things start off pretty simple, with Trover being controlled by your left analog stick. From here, you get a lightsaber style attack, along with a jump move and a smash attack, and off you go. As the 4 to 5 hour campaign progresses, so will your range of abilities, introducing a double jump and glide move, along with the ability for you to use telekinesis from your chair to pick up, move, and throw objects. Controls here all work well and were incredibly easy to pick up and play with. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for the camera control. Camera issues have plagued platformer titles and third-person games in general since the advent of 3D gaming. One of Astrobot's greatest achievements was that it mostly solved the camera issue by using a combination of a smart camera that followed Astro, along with giving us, the gamer, the ability to fine-tune the view, moving our own head as we saw fit. Unfortunately, Trover applies almost none of these methods and instead goes for a hub method, in which we teleport to a given spot and from a fixed position move Trover around like a radio-controlled car. In addition, we are given an awkwardly executed click turn to change our viewing direction, and the ability to pop up our viewing height in order to see more of the world up and over objects in Trover's way. The result is a control scheme that does work, but often feels like a lot more work than it really needed to be. This can be illustrated perfectly when looking at the telekinesis mechanic that is implemented about halfway through the game. Picking up objects is done by looking at an object and locking onto it. Then, with a combination of physically moving the controller, adjusting your view height, and also the use of the D-pad, you can now move and turn said object. Like I said, it all works in the end, but would have been so much simpler and fluid to put movement to your head and rotation to the analog sticks. Done. Anyway, camera and control issues aside, the combat never gets hard enough nor the platforming complex enough for any of these issues to be game-breaking. The majority of your time will be spent walking the mostly linear levels to complete your single and most likely absurd objective, all while scouring the world looking for green power babies to increase your hit points. Puzzles do make an appearance here, but in a turn that made me, not a fan of puzzle games, smile. If you take too long, puzzles are often optional. As Trover states, this isn't that type of game. The puzzles that remain remain often require you in your chair and Trover out in the world to work together to accomplish the task at hand. Combat, as it progresses from the usual hack and slash variety, also brings in this same buddy mechanic, as later fights see armored and more difficult adversaries that require a bit of teamwork, combining your telekinesis ability with Trover's nimbleness. And it is these moments that the VR component of Trover Saves the Universe really nails it gameplay wise, as you not only feel immersed in this crazy world around you, but start to interact with it and its characters in meaningful ways. Unfortunately, just as the game really starts to find its stride, it's almost over. Trover Saves the Universe is controlled with a DS4 and will most likely be played seated with a minimal amount of space required. In addition, motion sickness should not be an issue. And finally, that brings us to fun factor and my final review. As a platformer, Trover Saves the Universe is only average at best. As a comedy-based narrative, completely subjective. And as a VR title, it comes off incredibly solid, but with a definite longing for Squanch Games to do more here with the medium. A huge amount of credit must be given to Justin Roilend and his team though, as they have definitely showed a passion for VR gaming. Now we're in their third entry for VR. Trover Saves the Universe is easily their most ambitious game to date, bringing to the table actual solid gameplay mechanics instead of just humor, as was primarily the case in previous titles. As such, I can't wait to see what comes next. As you guys may know, I hate number ratings and instead rate games on a basis of buy, wait for a sale, or burn it to the ground. This is a game you definitely buy if you like Justin Roilend's sense of humor. If you do, then everything else here is just icing on the cake, as you are sure to enjoy yourself throughout. The puzzles and the combat are never too hard, and platforming itself, while basic, is still challenging enough to be entertaining without being overly frustrating, camera issues or not. If you haven't found Rick and Morty to be your thing or couldn't wrap your head around the insanity of Accounting Plus, this game most likely is not for you. Its game mechanics are solid enough, but the comedic stylings of Justin Roilend are so upfront in virtually every aspect of this title that it's definitely for his fans and his fans alone. Anyways guys, that's it for me. If you like this video, please hit that like button, and if you'd like to see more PSVR content from me, please consider subscribing, and for video updates, hit that bell icon. I'll catch you guys on my next video.